Since rework is the thing that Digital Extremes are actively doing right now in Warframe, I would like to pitch in 2 Warframe rework ideas. Now, this will be odd since both of these Warframes are really strong, but the reality is, almost no one are playing these Warframes. Probably because they are old, and with the current situation of Warframe right now, wherein killing on the move is more preferable, I think both Octavia and Nidus really need some love. I'm not saying rework them now, but I'm hoping that Digital Extremes would include these Warframes on their list. Okay, someone in the comment will say, just get good. I would like to say that I'm a big Nidus fan. I have invested time on a farming Nidus build that uses ore gaze and make Nidus viable in steel path farming, but then again, it's most of a solo play. Then for Octavia, I just know her as a level cap enthusiast. Well, unless you really love the Warframe and play her in other missions. That's fine, and I encourage you to do what you want to do. But to be honest, I think these Warframes really need a modern boost so that players will truly appreciate them. Now let me give you my thoughts about these 2 Warframes and why they need a rework. Let's start with the music star. Octavia looks like a rhythm game dream. Place a mallet that reflects damage, charm enemies with a rolling resonator, give the team big buffs if they move on beat, and then drop amp to crank the damage into lunacy. When it all syncs, it feels amazing. You hear the beat, you see the red crits, and enemies fall over like dominoes. The pain shows up when the roller grabs the mallet and sprints off like a dog that just stole a slipper. You chase your own damage while your team tries to figure out if they should stay with you or actually play the mission. It turns "I'm playing" into "I'm babysitting a murder Roomba." The invisibility loop makes it even more awkward. Yes, being invisible is safe and cool, but when the best play is to stay unseen forever and keep crouch timing for buffs, the whole frame becomes a macro you babysit. People don't perform the rhythm, they spam the inputs until they stick. It's like telling your friend you're playing the guitar when you're really just holding one chord and letting the amp do all the work. Fun for a while, sure. After that, it's autopilot, and when amp multiplies everything on top of that, you get those moments where tanky targets or mini-bosses don't get to exist. Great for speed, terrible for squad engagement. Fixing Octavia doesn't mean touching her power fantasy. Keep the music, keep the swag, shift control back into your hands. Let Resonator be a choice instead of a hijacker. A tap could keep it as a distraction, and a hold could let it pick up Mallet for a short, known window with a clean cooldown. If you want a roaming ball of doom, choose it. If you want a strong anchor at a choke point, keep it grounded. The kit stops dragging you and you start leading it. I know that the augment can fix it, but it would be satisfying to see Mallet dismounting on the Resonator with one click. Or better yet, make Resonator and Mallet synergy more reliable by increasing the damage of the Mallet per meter traveled with Resonator. Enemies get confused all the time while Mallet has been mounted on Resonator, and instead of Mallet's damage scaling while on the move, the aggro of Resonator seems to disrupt that, and I hope that Digital Extremes will fix this. But of course, no more infinite damage scaling, as Octavia will wipe out everything in the game easy with this combo. The rhythm can also feel like a real rhythm. A small beat ring on screen would help anyone, new or veteran, time the buff inputs. Hit the beat cleanly and you earn stronger, longer buffs. Miss by a little and you still get a smaller version that doesn't last as long. Now your best uptime comes from skill, not spam, and people can actually enjoy playing the song rather than faking it. It also makes Octavia more fun to watch in squads because teammates can see when to move on beat with you instead of guessing while you crouch behind a pillar. Amp needs to keep the map melt without erasing mechanics. Tie the ceiling to participation and density. The more enemies that actually interact with Mallet in the last few seconds, the more Amp heats up to a cap that still feels strong but doesn't skip boss phases. This keeps the frame incredible at clearing ads and holding zones while cutting those moments where teammates stand around like extras in your music video. Add simple UI touches for the squad. Show if the roller is carrying the Mallet, show the amp ring on the minimap, and give clear icons for which metronome buffs they've got. Octavia becomes a conductor again, not a runaway jukebox. Now the big infested boy. Nidus has that slow to start, impossible to stop vibe. Stack mutation with virulence, group enemies with larva, link for damage reduction or damage share, and pop a garden of ravenous for healing and explosive maggots. When density is good and the tile is clean, he feels like a freight train. When the squad is speedrunning or the map has weird geometry, larva becomes a traffic cone and your stacks crawl. You toss it into a doorway and yank enemies out of your teammates' headshots. You drop ravenous and the squad sprints away before the maggots even wake up. You link to an ally, break line of sight for half a second, and the tether drops at the worst time. It's not that he's weak, he's just clunky in a game that moves quicker than when he was born. The fix for Nidus is flow. Give him tools that respect momentum. Let Virulence smooth out the ramp by banking partial progress when you hit armored targets or when you catch smaller packs. Not full stacks for free, just enough to avoid those dead stretches where you're strong in theory but feel slow in practice. When density returns, you still spike, but you don't feel punished for playing on a thin tile or with a fast squad. Larva should match the room. A quick tap could be a short, forward cone pull that fits sprinting hallways, while a hold keeps the classic orb with a bit of pin logic, so enemies stick instead of bouncing off weird corners. The cone version keeps the team's crosshairs happy. The orb version stays great for defense, survival choke points, and set plays. You bring the pull that fits the pace instead of rolling dice on geometry. Parasitic Link wants clarity and forgiveness. It should be like a mind hive buff. What I'm going for is that once you press the ability on an enemy, then you will have the buff as long as it's not dead. This will remove that mentality that you need to stay close to that target, or else you will break the link. What I'm aiming for Nidus is to be more mobile, and this one change could really improve the Warframe. Also, Ravenous is perfect when you're posted up. Moving missions need a traveling version. Tapping could place the classic garden. Holding could spawn a smaller pool under Nidus that follows him for a short duration. Healing allies on the move and spawning fewer, faster maggots that look for live targets instead of partying in vents. In defense, you set the lawn. In capture and exterminate, you take the green carpet with you. Or, you can make it like wisp modes, wherein you keep the buff for a duration after leaving the area. High stacks should buy real survivability that matches modern threats also. At a mid-stack threshold, give Nidus partial status resistance so toxin or heat spikes don't chunk him. At a higher threshold, give full knockdown immunity and a small buffer that soaks a burst every few seconds. He still bleeds and still needs to play smart, but he feels like a true health tank in a world built around shield gating and status spam. Both frames also need to be better neighbors. Octavia's roller shouldn't grab mallet unless you tell it to. Nidus's larva shouldn't pull enemies out of someone's perfect headshot line unless you've chosen the big orb on purpose. Buffs should be obvious, pulls should be readable, links should be clear. The biggest wins in reworks like these come from simple, plays well with others rules. On survival as Octavia, you lock a mallet at a junction and keep your resonator distracting only. Your team sees the amp ring on the map and steps into the good sound. You hit the beat cleanly a few times. Your buffs get stronger and the squad stays in rhythm. It's still easy mode, but now it's cooperative easy mode. People fight near you because it feels good to do so, not because you accidentally dragged the nuke down another corridor. On a fast exterminate as Nidus, you sprint with a short cone pull, slam virulence, and watch stacks rise even when spawns are light.